London CHATTO, and WINDUS. Of all my verse, like not a single line, but like my title, for it is not mine. That title from a better man I stole, ah, how much better had I stolen the whole. Dedication. There are men and classes of men that stand above the common herd. The soldier, the sailor, and the shepherd not unfrequently, the artist rarely, rarely still, the clergyman, the physician almost as a rule. He is the flower, such as it is, of our civilization, and when that stage of man is done with and only remembered to be marveled at in history, he will be thought to have shared as little as any in the defects of the period, and most notably exhibited the virtues of the race. Generosity he has, such as is possible to those who practice an art, never to those who drive a trade, discretion, tested by 100 secrets, tact, tried in 1,000 embarrassments, and what are more important, Heraclean cheerfulness and courage. So it is that he brings air and cheer into the sick room, and often enough, though not so often as he wishes, brings healing. Gratitude is but a lame sentiment. Thanks, when they are expressed, are often more embarrassing than welcome, and yet I must set forth mine to a few out of many doctors who have brought me comfort and help. To Dr. Willie of San Francisco, whose kindness to a stranger it must be as grateful to him as it is touching to me to remember. To Dr. Carl Rudy of Davos, the good genius of the English in his frosty mountains. To Dr. Herbert of Paris, whom I knew only for a week, and to Dr. Cassat of Montpellier, whom I knew only for 10 days, and who have yet written their names deeply in my memory. To Dr. Brant of Royet, to Dr. Wakefield of Nice, to Dr. Chepmel, whose visits make it a pleasure to be ill, to Dr. Horace Doble, so wise in counsel, to Sir Andrew Clark, so unwearied in kindness, and to that wise youth my uncle, Dr. Balfour. I forget as many as I remember, and I ask both to pardon me, these for silence, those for inadequate speech. But one name I have kept on purpose to the last, because it is a household word with me, and because if I had not received favors from so many hands and in so many quarters of the world, it should have stood upon this page alone, that of my friend Thomas Bodley Scott of Bournemouth. Will he accept this, although shared among so many, for a dedication to himself? And when next my ill fortune, which has thus its pleasant side, brings him hurrying to me when he would fain sit down to meat or lie down to rest, will he care to remember that he takes this trouble for one who is not fool enough to be ungrateful? Note: the human conscience has fled of late the troublesome domain of conduct for what I should have supposed to be the less congenial field of art. There she may now be said to rage, and with special severity in all that touches dialect, so that in every novel the letters of the alphabet are tortured, and the reader wearied, to commemorate shades of mispronunciation. Now spelling is an art of great difficulty in my eyes, and I am inclined to lean upon the printer, even in common practice, rather than to venture abroad upon new quests. And the Scots tongue has an orthography of its own, lacking neither authority nor author. Yet the temptation is great to lend a little guidance to the bewildered Englishman. Some simple phonetic artifice might defend your verses from barbarous mishandling, and yet not injure any vested interest. So it seems at first, but there are rocks ahead. Thus, if I wish the diphthong O to have its proper value, I may write or instead of our. Many have done so and lived, and the pillars of the universe remained unshaken. But if I did so, and came presently to down, which is the classical Scots spelling of the English down, I should begin to feel uneasy. And if I went on a little farther, and came to a classical Scots word like stour or dower or cleur, I should know precisely where I was. That is to say, that I was out of sight of land on those high seas of spelling reform in which so many strong swimmers have toiled vainly. To some the situation is exhilarating. As for me, I give one bubbling cry and sink. The compromise at which I have arrived is indefensible, and I have no thought of trying to defend it. As I have stuck for the most part to the proper spelling, I append a table of some common vowel sounds which no one need consult, and just to prove that I belong to my age and have in me the stuff of a reformer, I have used modification marks throughout. Thus I can tell myself, not without pride, that I have added a fresh stumbling block for English readers, and to a page of print in my native tongue have lent a new uncouthness. Sed non nobis. I note again that among our new dialecticians, the local habitat of every dialect is given to the square mile. I could not emulate this nicety if I desired, for I simply wrote my Scots as well as I was able, not caring if it hailed from Lauderdale or Angus, from the Mearns or Galloway. If I had ever heard a good word, I used it without shame, and when Scots was lacking, or the rhyme jibbed, I was glad, like my betters, to fall back on English. For all that, I own to a friendly feeling for the tongue of Ferguson and of Sir Walter, both Edinburgh men, and I confess that Burns has always sounded in my ear like something partly foreign, and indeed I am from the Lothians myself. It is there I heard the language spoken about my childhood, and it is in the drawling Lothian voice that I repeat it to myself. Let the precisians call my speech that of the Lothians, and if it be not pure, alas, what matters it? The day draws near when this illustrious and malleable tongue shall be quite forgotten, and Burns, Ayrshire, and Dr. MacDonald's Aberdeenawa, and Scott's brave, metropolitan utterance will be all equally the ghosts of speech. Till then I would love to have my hour as a native maker, and be read by my own countryfolk in our own dying language, an ambition surely rather of the heart than of the head, so restricted as it is in prospect of endurance, so parochial in bounds of space. Book I, in English page I ENVOY go, Little Book 1 II. A Song of the Road, the Gauger walked 2 III. The CANOE SPEAKS on the great streams 4 IV. It is the season 7 V. The house beautiful, a naked house, a naked 9 more VI. A visit from the sea, far from the loud sea 12 beaches VII. To a gardener friend in my mountainside 14 domain VII. To MINNIE a picture frame for you to fill 16 IX. To KDEM, a lover of the moorland bear 17X to NVDEGS, the unfathomable C19XI, to Will. H. Low youth now flees 21 XII to Mrs. Will. H. Low even in the bluest 24 noonday of July XII, to H.F. Brown I sit and wait 26 XIV. To Andrew Lang, dear Andrew 29 XV. ETTU in Arcadia VIXISTI in Ancient Tales, 31 O friend XVI. To W.E. Henley, the year runs through her 36 phases XVII. Henry James, who comes tonight 38 XVII. The Mirror SPEAKS, where the bells 39 XIX. KATHARINE, we see you as we see a face 41 XX. To FJS, I read, dear friend 42 XXI. Requiem under the wide and starry sky 43 XXII. The celestial surgeon if I have faltered 44 XXII. Our Lady of the SNOWS, out of the sun 45 XXIV. Not yet, my soul 50 XXV. It is not yours, O mother, to complain 53 XXVI. The sick child, O mother, lay your hand on 56 my brow XXVI. In MEMORIAM FAS. Yet, O stricken heart 58 XXVI. To my father peace and her huge invasion 60 XXIX. In the States with half a heart 62 XXX. A portrait I am a kind of farthing dip 63 XXXI. Sing clearlier, muse 65 XXXII. A camp the bed was made 66 XXXII. The country of the Camisards, we traveled 67 in the print of olden wars XXXIV. SKRRYVURE, for love of lovely words 68 XXXV. SKRRYVURE, the parallel, here all is sunny 69 XXXVI. My house, I say 70 XXXVI. My body which my dungeon is 71 XXXVI. Say not of me that weekly I declined 73 book Roman 2. In Scots I the maker to posterity, far yont among the 77 years to be II. ILLETRRUM, Frey Nurley, Nippon, Eastland 80 breeze III. When aints April has fairly come 85 IV. A mile AN, a BITTOCK 87 VA LOWDN Sabbath morn, the clinkum clank O 89 Sabbath bells VI. The SBAWAFE, O I wad like to ken 98 VII. The blast 1875 it's rainin', wheats the 100 Garden sod VII. The counterblast 1886, my bonny man, the 103 world it's true IX. The counterblast ironical, it's strange that 108 God should fash to frame X. Their laureate to an Academy class dinner 110 club, dear Thamson class, warrior I gang XI. EMBRO High Kirk the Lord Himsel, in former 114 days XII. The Scotsman's return from abroad, in money a 118 foreign pairt I've been XII. Late in the nished 125 XIV. My conscience. Of the ills that flesh 130 can fear XV. To Dr. John Brown, by line and tine, by 133 Thames and T's XVI. It's an o'ercome sooth for age and youth 138. I ENVOY. Geo, little book, and wish to all flowers in the garden, meet in the hall, a bin of wine, a spice of wit, a house with lawns enclosing it, a living river by the door, a nightingale in the sycamore. II, a song of the road. The gauger walked with willing foot, and I the gauger played the flute, and what should master gauger play but over the hills and far away? Whene'er I buckle on my pack and foot it gaily in the track, O pleasant gauger, long since dead, I hear you fluting on ahead. You go with me the self-same way, the self-same air for me you play, for I do think, and so do you, it is the tune to travel to. For who would gravely set his face to go to this or t'other place? There's nothing under heaven so blue that's fairly worth the traveling to. On every hand the roads begin, and people walk with zeal therein, but wheresoe'er the highways tend, be sure there's nothing at the end. Then follow you, wherever high the traveling mountains of the sky, or let the streams in civil mode direct your choice upon a road. For one and all, or high or low, will lead you where you wish to go, and one and all go night and day over the hills and far away. Forest of Montargis, 1878. III, the canoe speaks. On the great streams, the ships may go about men's business to and fro. But I, the eggshell pinnace, sleep on crystal waters ankle deep. I, whose diminutive design of sweeter cedar pithier pine is fashioned on so frail a mold, a hand may launch, a hand withhold. I rather with the leaping trout wind, among lilies in and out. I, the unnamed, in violet, green, rustic rivers navigate. My dipping paddle scarcely shakes the berry in the bramble brakes. Still forth on my green way I wend beside the cottage garden end, and by the nested angler fair, and take the lovers unaware. By willow wood and waterwheel speedily fleets my touching keel, by all retired and shady spots where prosper dim forget-me-nots, by meadows where at afternoon the growing maidens troop in June to loose their girdles on the grass. Ah, speedier than before the glass the backward toilet goes, and swift as swallows quiver, robe and shift, and the rough country stockings lie around each young divinity. When, following the recondite brook, sudden upon the scene I look, and light with unfamiliar face on chaste Diana's bathing place, loud ring the hills about, and all the shallows are abandoned. IV. It is the season now to go about the country high and low, among the lilacs hand in hand, and two by two in fairy land. The brooding boy, the sighing maid, wholly fain and half afraid, now meet along the hazelled brook to pass and linger, pause and look. A year ago, and blithely paired, their rough and tumble play they shared. They kissed and quarrelled, laughed and cried, a year ago at Eastertide. With bursting heart, with fiery face, she strove against him in the race. He unabashed her garter saw, that now would touch her skirts with awe. Now by the stile ablaze she stops, and his demurer eyes he drops. Now they exchange averted sighs or stand, and merry silent eyes. And he to her a hero is, and sweeter she than primroses. Their common silence dearer far than nightingale and mavis are. Now when they sever wedded hands, joy trembles in their bosom strands and lovely laughter leaps, and falls upon their lips in madrigals. V. The house beautiful. A naked house, a naked moor, a shivering pool before the door, a garden bare of flowers and fruit and poplars at the garden foot. Such is the place that I live in, bleak without and bare within. Yet shall your ragged moor receive the incomparable pomp of eve, and the cold glories of the dawn behind your shivering trees be drawn, and when the wind from place to place doth the unmoored cloud galleons chase, your garden gloom and gleam again, with leaping sun, with glancing rain. Here shall the wizard moon ascend the heavens, in the crimson end of day's declining splendor, here the army of the stars appear. The neighbor hollows dry or wet, spring shall with tender flowers beset, and oft the morning muser sea larks rising from the broomy lee, and every fairy wheel and thread of cobweb do bediamonded. When daisies go, shall winter time silver the simple grass with rime. Autumnal frosts enchant the pool and make the cartruts beautiful, and when snow-bright the moor expands, how shall your children clap their hands? To make this earth our hermitage, a cheerful and a changeful page, God's bright and intricate device of days and seasons doth suffice. VI. A Visit from the Sea. Far from the loud sea beaches where he goes fishing and crying, here in the inland garden why is the seagull flying? Here are no fish to dive for, here is the corn and lea, here are the green trees rustling, hie away home to sea. Fresh is the river water and quiet among the rushes, this is no home for the seagull, but for the rooks and thrushes. Pity the bird that has wandered, pity the sailor ashore, hurry him home to the ocean, let him come here no more. High on the sea cliff ledges the white gulls are trooping and crying, here among the rooks and roses, why is the seagull flying? VII. To a Gardener. Friend, in my mountainside domain my plain beholding, rosy, green and linnet-haunted garden ground, let still the esculents abound. Let first the onion flourish there, rose among roots, the maiden fair, wine-scented and poetic soul of the capacious salad bowl. Let time the mountaineer to dress the tinier birds and wading cress, the lover of the shallow brook, from all my plots and borders look. Nor crisp and ruddy radish, nor peascods for the child's pinafore be lacking, nor of salad clan the last, and least that ever ran about great nature's garden beds. Nor thence be missed the speary heads of artichoke, nor thence the bean that gathered innocent and green, outsavours the belauded pea. These tend, I prithee, and for me, thy most long-suffering master, bring in April when the linnets sing and the days lengthen more and more at sundown to the garden door. And I, being provided thus, shall with superb asparagus, a book, a taper, and a cup of country wine, divinely sup. La Solitude hires. VII. To MEMORIAM. With a hand glass. A picture frame for you to fill, a paltry setting for your face, a thing that has no worth until you lend it something of your grace. I send, unhappy I that sing laid by a while upon the shelf, because I would not send a thing less charming than you are yourself. And happier than I, alas, dumb thing, I envy its delight, 'twill wish you well the looking-glass and look you in the face tonight. 1869. XXTOKDM. A lover of the moorland bare and honest country winds, you were, the silver-skimming rain you took, and loved the floodings of the brook, dew, frost and mountains, fire and seas, tumultuary silences, winds that in darkness fife to tune, and the high-riding, virgin moon. And as the berry, pale and sharp, springs on some ditches counterscarp in our ungenial native north, you put your frosted wildings forth, and on the heath afar from man, a strong and bitter virgin ran. The berry ripened keeps the rude and racy flavor of the wood. And you that love the empty plain all redolent of wind and rain, around you still the curlew sings, the freshness of the weather clings, the maiden jewels of the rain sit in your dabbled locks again. XXIII. The unfathomable sea, and time, and tears, the deeds of heroes and the crimes of kings dispart us, and the river of events has, for an age of years, to east and west more widely borne our cradles. Thou to me art foreign, as when seamen at the dawn descry a land far off and know not which. So I approach uncertain, so I cruise round thy mysterious islet, and behold surf and great mountains and loud river bars, and from the shore hear inland voices call. Strange is the seaman's heart, he hopes, he fears, draws closer and sweeps wider from that coast, last his rent sail refits, and to the deep his shattered prow uncomforted puts back. Yet as he goes he ponders at the helm of that bright island, where he feared to touch, his spirit readventures, and for years where by his wife he slumbers safe at home, thoughts of that land revisit him, he sees the eternal mountains beckon, and awakes yearning for that far home that might have been. XITO Will, H. Lowe. Youth now flees on feathered foot, faint and fainter sounds the flute, rarer songs of gods, and still somewhere on the sunny hill, or along the winding stream, through the willows, flits a dream, flits but shows a smiling face, flees but with so quaint a grace, none can choose to stay at home, all must follow, all must roam. This is unborn beauty. She now in air floats high and free, takes the sun and breaks the blue. Late with stooping pinion flew raking hedgerow trees, and wet her wing in silver streams, and set shining foot on temple roof. Now again she flies aloof, coasting mountain clouds and kissed by the evening's amethyst. In wet wood and miry lane, still we pant and pound in vain. Still with leaden foot we chase waning pinion, fainting face. Still with grey hair we stumble on, till behold the vision gone. Where hath fleeting beauty led? To the doorway of the dead. Life is over, life was gay, we have come the primrose way. XIII Mrs. Will, H. Lowe. Even in the bluest noonday of July, there could not run the smallest breath of wind, but all the quarter sounded like a wood. And in the checkered silence, and above the hum of city cabs that sought the boys, suburban ashes shivered into song. A patter and a chatter and a chirp and a long dying hiss. It was as though starched old brocaded dames through all the house had trailed a strident skirt, or the whole sky even in a wink had overbrimmed in rain. Hark, in these shady parlors, how it talks of the near autumn, how the smitten ash trembles and augurs floods. Oh, not too long in these inconstant latitudes delay, oh, not too late from the unbeloved north trim your escape. For soon shall this low roof resound indeed with rain, soon shall your eyes search the foul garden, search the darkened rooms, nor find one jewel but the blazing log. 12 Rue Vernier, Paris. XIII F. Brown. Written during a dangerous sickness. I sit and wait a pair of oars on Sicilian river shores, where the immortal dead have sate, tease mine to sit and meditate, to reascend life's rivulet without remorse, without regret, and sing my alma genitrix among the willows of the Styx. And lo, as my serener soul did these unhappy shores patrol, and wait with an attentive ear the coming of the gondolier, your fire-surviving role I took, your spirited and happy book. 27, whereon, despite my frowning fate, it did my soul so recreate that all my fancies fled away on a Venetian holiday. Now, thanks to your triumphant care, your pages clear as April air, the sails, the bells, the birds I know, and the far-off Frioland snow, the land and sea, the sun and shade, and the blue even lamp inlaid. For this, for these, for all, O friend, for your whole book from end to end, for Perrin Pierrot's Mutnam, I your defaulting debtor am. Perchance, reviving, yet may I to your sea paven city high, and in a fells, some day yet light at your pipe my cigarette. XIV to Andrew Lang. Dear Andrew, with the brindled hair, who glory to have thrown in air, high over arm, the trembling reed by ale and kyle, by till and tweed. An equal craft of hand you show the pen to guide, the fly to throw. I count you happy starred. For God, when he with inkpot and with rod endowed you, bade your fortune lead forever by the crooks of Tweed, forever by the woods of song and lands that to the muse belong. Or if in peopled streets, or in the abhorred pedantic Sanhedrim, it should be yours to wander, still heirs of the morn, heirs of the hill, the plovery forest and the seas that break about the Hebrides, should follow over field and plain and find you at the window pane. And you again see hill and peal, and the bright springs gush at your heel. So went the fiat forth, and so garrulous like a brook you go, with sound of happy mirth and sheen of daylight. Whether by the green you fare that moment, or the grey, whether you dwell in March or May, or whether treat of reels and rods or of the old unhappy gods, still like a brook your page has shown, and your ink sings of Helicon. TORAMS. In ancient tales, O friend, thy spirit dwelt, there from of old thy childhood past, and their high expectation, high delights and deeds thy fluttering heart with hope and terror moved. And thou hast heard of yore the blatant beast, and Roland's horn, and that war-scattering shout of all unarmed Achilles, aegis-crowned and perilous lands thou saw'st, sounding shores and seas and forests drear, island and dale and mountain dark. For thou with Tristram Rodstey or Bedevere in farthest Lyoness. Thou hadst a booth in Samarcand, whereat side-looking Magians trafficked. Thence by night an Efreet snatched thee, and with wings upbore beyond the Aral Mount, or hoping gain thou with a jar of money didst embark for Balsara by sea. But chiefly thou in that clear air took'st life, in Arcady the haunted land of song, and by the wells where most the gods frequent. There Chiron old in the Pelethronian antre taught thee lore, the plants he taught, and by the shining stars in forests dim to steer. There hast thou seen immortal Pan dance secret in a glade, and dancing roll his eyes. These, where they fell, shed glee, and through the congregated oaks a flying horror winged, while all the earth to the gods' pregnant footing thrilled within. Or whiles beside the sobbing stream he breathed, in his clutch pipe unformed and wizard strains divine yet brutal, which the forest heard, and thou, with awe, and far upon the plain the unthinking ploughman started and gave ear. Now things there are that, upon him who sees, a strong vocation lay, and strains there are that whoso hears shall hear forevermore. Forevermore thou hear'st he immortal Pan and those melodious godheads, ever young and ever choiring, on the mountains old. What was this earth, child of the gods, to thee? Forth from thy dreamland thou, a dreamer, cam'st he, and in thine ears the olden music rang, and in thy mind the doings of the dead, and those heroic ages long forgot. To a so fallen earth, alas, too late, alas! In evil days thy steps return, to list at noon for nightingales, to grow a dweller on the beach till Argo come that came long since, a lingerer by the pool where that desired angel bathes no more. As when the Indian to Dakota comes, or farthest Idaho, and where he dwelt, he with his clan, a humming city finds. Thereon a while amazed he stares, and then to right and leftward like a questing dog, seeks first the ancestral altars, then the hearth long cold with rains, and where old terror lodged and where the dead. So the undying hope with all her pack hunts screaming through the years. Here there thou fleest, but nor here nor there the pleasant gods abide, the glory dwells. That was not Apollo, not the god. This was not Venus, though she Venus seemed a moment. And though fair yon river move, she, all the way from disenchanted fount to seas unhallowed runs. The gods forsook long since her trembling rushes, from her plains disconsolate, long since adventure fled. And now although the inviting river flows, and every poplar'd cape, and every bend or willowy islet, win upon thy soul and to thy hopeful shallop whisper speed. Yet hope not thou at all. Hope is no more. And oh, long since the golden groves are dead, the fairy cities vanished from the land. XVIII TOWE Henley. The year runs through her phases, rain and sun, springtime and summer pass, winter succeeds, but one pale season rules the house of death. Cold falls the imprisoned daylight, fell disease by each lean pallet squats, and pain and sleep toss gaping on the pillows. But O thou, uprise and take thy pipe. Bid music flow, strains by good thoughts attended, like the spring the swallows follow over land and sea. Pain sleeps at once with open eyes, dozing despair awakes. The shepherd sees his flock come bleating home, the seaman hears once more the cordage rattle. Heirs of home. Youth, love and roses blossom. The gaunt ward dislimbs and disappears, and opening out shows brooks and forests and the blue beyond of mountains. Small the pipe, but oh, do thou, peak-faced and suffering piper, blow therein the dirge of heroes dead, and to these sick, these dying, sound the triumph over death. Behold, each greatly breathes, each tastes a joy unknown before in dying, for each knows a hero dies with him, though unfulfilled, yet conquering truly, and not dies in vain. So is pain cheered, death comforted, the house of sorrow smiles to listen. Once again, O thou, Orpheus and Heracles, the bard and the deliverer, touch the stops again. XVIII Henry James. Who comes tonight? We ope the doors in vain. Who comes? My bursting walls, can you contain the presences that now together throng your narrow entry, as with flowers and song, as with the air of life, the breath of talk? Lo, how these fair immaculate women walk behind their jocund maker, and we see slighted de Mauves, and that far different she, Gressy, the trivial sphinx, and to our feast Daisy and Barb and Chancellor, she not least. With all their silken, all their airy kin, do like unbidden angels enter in. But he, attended by these shining names, comes best of all himself, our welcome James. XVIII The Mirror Speaks. Where the bells peal far at sea cunning fingers fashioned me, there on palace walls I hung while that consulo sung, but I heard, though I listened well, never a note, never a trill, never a beat of the chiming bell. There I hung and looked, and there in my grey faces fair shone from under shining hair. Well I saw the poising head, but the lips moved and nothing said, and when lights were in the hall, silent moved the dancers all. So a while I glowed, and then fell on dusty days and men. Long I slumbered packed in straw, long I none but dealers saw, till before my silent eye one that seas came passing by. Now with an outlandish grace, to the sparkling fire I face in the blue room at Scaravore, where I wait until the door open, and the Prince of Men, Henry James, shall come again. XXIX KATHARINE. We see you as we see a face that trembles in a forest place upon the mirror of a pool forever quiet, clear and cool, and in the wayward glass, appears to hover between smiles and tears, elfin and human, airy and true, and backed by the reflected blue. XXTOFJS. I read, dear friend, in your dear face your life's tale told with perfect grace. The river of your life, I trace up the sun-checkered, devious bed to the far-distant fountainhead. Not one quick beat of your warm heart, nor thought that came to you apart, pleasure nor pity, love nor pain nor sorrow, has gone by in vain. But as some lone, wood-wandering child brings home with him at evening mild the thorns and flowers of all the wild, from your whole life, O fair and true your flowers and thorns you bring with you. XXII Requiem. Under the wide and starry sky, dig the grave and let me lie. Glad did I live and gladly die, and I laid me down with a will. This be the verse you grave for me. Here he lies where he longed to be. Home is the sailor, home from sea, and the hunter home from the hill. XXII, the celestial surgeon. If I have faltered more or less in my great task of happiness, if I have moved among my race and shown no glorious morning face, if beams from happy human eyes have moved me not, if morning skies, books, and my food and summer rain knocked on my sullen heart in vain, Lord, thy most pointed pleasure take and stab my spirit broad awake. Or Lord, if too obdurate I choose thou, before that spirit die, a piercing pain, a killing sin, and to my dead heart run them in. XXII, Our Lady of the Snows. Out of the sun, out of the blast, out of the world, alone I passed across the moor and through the wood to where the monastery stood. There neither lute nor breathing fife, nor rumor of the world of life, nor confidences low and dear, shall strike the meditative ear. Aloof, unhelpful, and unkind, the prisoners of the iron mind, where nothing speaks except the hell the unfraternal brothers dwell. Poor passionate men, still clothed afresh with agonizing folds of flesh, whom the clear eyes solicit still to some bold output of the will, while fairy fancy far before, and musing memory hold the door now to heroic death invite, and now uncurtain fresh delight. Oh, little boots it thus to dwell on the remote, unneighbored hill. Oh, to be up and doing, oh, unfearing and unshamed to go in all the uproar and the press about my human business. My undissuaded heart I hear whisper courage in my ear. With voiceless calls, the ancient earth summons me to a daily birth. Thou, O my love, ye, O my friends, the gist of life, the end of ends, to laugh, to love, to live, to die, ye call me by the ear and eye. Forth from the casemate, on the plain where honor has the world to gain, pour forth and bravely do your part, O knights of the unshielded heart. Forth and forever forward, out from prudent turret and redoubt, and in the melee charge aiming to fall but yet to rise again. Captive, still to honor bright, a captive soldier of the right, or free and fighting, good with ill, unconquering but unconquered still. And ye, O brethren, what if God, when from heaven's top he spies abroad and sees on this tormented stage the noble war of mankind rage, what if his vivifying eye, O monks, should pass your corner by? For still the Lord is Lord of might, in deeds he takes delight. The plough, the spear, the laden barks, the field, the founded city marks. He marks the smiler of the streets, the singer upon garden seats. He sees the climber in the rocks. To him, the shepherd folds his flocks. For those he loves that underprop with daily virtues heaven's top, and bear the falling sky with ease, unfrowning caryatides. Those he approves that ply the trade, that rock the child, that wed the maid, that with weak virtues, weaker hands, sow gladness on the peopled lands, and still with laughter, song and shout, spin the great wheel of earth about. But ye, O ye who linger still here in your fortress on the hill, with placid face, with tranquil breath, the unsought volunteers of death, our cheerful general on high with careless looks may pass you by. XXIV. Not yet, my soul, these friendly fields desert, where thou with grass and rivers and the breeze and the bright face of day thy dalliance hadst, where to thine ear first sang the enraptured birds, where love and thou that lasting bargain made. The ship rides trimmed, and from the eternal shore thou hearest airy voices, but not yet depart, my soul, not yet a while depart. Freedom is far, rest far. Thou art with life too closely woven, nerve with nerve entwined, service still craving service, love for dear love, still suppliant with tears. Alas, not yet thy human task is done. A bond at birth is forged, a debt doth lie immortal on mortality. It grows by vast rebound, it grows, unceasing growth, gift upon gift, alms upon alms, upreared from man, from God, from nature, till the soul at that so huge indulgence stands amazed. Leave not, my soul, the unfoughten field, nor leave thy debts dishonored, nor thy place desert without due service rendered. For thy life, up spirit and defend that fort of clay, thy body now beleaguered, whether soon or late she fall, whether today thy friends bewail thee dead, or after years, a man grown old in honor and the friend of peace. Contend, my soul, for moments and for hours. Each is with service pregnant, each reclaimed is as a kingdom conquered where to reign. As when a captain rallies to the fight his scattered legions, and beats ruin back, he on the field encamps well pleased in mind. Yet surely him shall fortune overtake, him smite in turn, headlong his ensigns drive, and that dear land, now safe, tomorrow fall. But he, unthinking, in the present good solely delights, and all the camps rejoice. XXV. It is not yours, O mother, to complain, not, mother, yours to weep, though nevermore your son again shall to your bosom creep, though nevermore again you watch your baby sleep. Though in the greener paths of earth, mother and child, no more we wander, and no more the birth of me whom once you bore, seems still the brave reward that once it seemed of yore. Though as all passes, day and night, the seasons and the years, from you, O mother, this delight, this also disappears, some profit yet survives of all your pangs and tears. The child, the seed, the grain of corn, the acorn on the hill, each for some separate end is born in season fit, and still each must in strength arise to work the Almighty will. So from the hearth the children flee, by that Almighty hand austerely led, so one by sea goes forth, and one by land, nor out of all man's sons escapes from that command. So from the sally each obeys the unseen Almighty nod, so till the ending all their ways blindfolded loth have trod, nor knew their task at all, but were the tools of God. And as the fervent smith of yore beat out the glowing blade, nor wielded in the front of war the weapons that he made, but in the tower at home still plied his ringing trade. So like a sword the son shall roam on nobler missions sent, and as the smith remained at home in peaceful turret pent, so sits the while at home the mother well content. XXVI, the sick child. Child, O mother, lay your hand on my brow. O mother, mother, where am I now? Why is the room so gaunt and great? Why am I lying awake so late? Mother, fear not at all, the night is still. Nothing is here that means you ill, nothing but lamps the whole town through, and never a child awake but you. Child, mother, mother, speak low in my ear, some of the things are so great and near, some are so small and far away, I have a fear that I cannot say, what have I done, and what do I fear, and why are you crying, mother dear? Mother, out in the city, sounds begin, thank the kind God, the carts come in. An hour or two more, and God is so kind, the day shall be blue in the window blind, then shall my child go sweetly asleep, and dream of the birds and the hills of sheep. XXVI in MEMORIAM FAS. Yet, O stricken heart, remember, O remember how of human days he lived the better part. April came to bloom, and never dim December breathed its killing chills upon the head or heart. Doomed to know not winter, only spring, a being trod the flowery April blithely for a while, took his fill of music, joy of thought and seeing, came and stayed and went, nor ever ceased to smile. Came and stayed and went, and now when all is finished, you alone have crossed the melancholy stream, yours the pang, but his, oh his, the undiminished, undecaying gladness, undeparted dream. All that life contains of torture, toil and treason, shame, dishonor, death, to him were but a name. Here a boy, he dwelt through all the singing season, and ere the day of sorrow departed as he came. Davos, 1881. XXVII to MY father. Peace and her huge invasion to these shores puts daily home. Innumerable sails dawn on the far horizon and draw near. Innumerable loves, uncounted hopes to our wild coasts, not darkling now approach. Not now obscure, since thou and thine are there, and bright on the lone isle, the foundered reef, the long, resounding foreland Faroe stands. These are thy works, O Father, these thy crown. Whether on high the air be pure, they shine along the yellowing sunset, and all night among the unnumbered stars of God they shine. Or whether fogs arise and far and wide the low sea level drown, each finds a tongue and all night long the tolling bell resounds. So shine, so toll, till night be overpast, till the stars vanish, till the sun return, and in the haven rides the fleet secure. In the first hour, the seaman in his skiff moves through the unmoving bay, to where the town its earliest smoke into the air upbreathes and the rough hazels climb along the beach. To the tugged or the distant echo speaks. The ship lies resting, where by reef and roost thou and thy lights have led her like a child. This hast thou done, and I be base. I must arise, O Father, and to port some lost, complaining seaman pilot home. XXIX in the States. With half a heart I wander here as from an age gone by a brother, yet though young in years, an elder brother, I. You speak another tongue than mine, though both were English born. I towards the night of time decline, you mount into the morn. Youth shall grow great and strong and free, but age must still decay. Tomorrow for the States, for me, England and yesterday. San Francisco. XXX, a portrait. I am a kind of farthing dip, unfriendly to the nose and eyes. A blue-behinded ape, I skip upon the trees of paradise. At mankind's feast, I take my place in solemn, sanctimonious state, and have the air of saying grace while I defile the dinner plate. I am the smiler with the knife, the battener upon garbage. I dear heaven, with such a rancid life, were it not better far to die? Yet still, about the human pale, I love to scamper, love to race, to swing by my irreverent tail all over the most holy place. And when at length, some golden day, the unfailing sportsman, aiming at, shall bag me, all the world shall say, thank God, and there's an end of that. XXXI. Sing clearlier, muse, or evermore be still, sing truer or no longer sing. No more the voice of melancholy Jacques to wake a weeping echo in the hill, but as the boy, the pirate of the spring, from the green elm a living linnet takes, one natural verse recapture, then be still. XXXI a camp 66. The bed was made, the room was fit, by punctual eve the stars were lit. The air was still, the water ran, no need was there for maid or man, when we put up my ass and I, at God's green caravanserai. XXXII, the country of the Camisards, 67. We travelled in the print of olden wars, yet all the land was green, and love we found, and peace, where fire and war had been. They pass and smile, the children of the sword, no more the sword they wield, and oh, how deep the corn along the battlefield. XXXIV, SCOTSMA'S. For love of lovely words, and for the sake of those, my kinsmen and my countrymen, who early and late in the windy ocean toiled to plant a star for seamen, where was then the surfy haunt of seals and cormorants, I, on the lintel of this cot, inscribed the name of a strong tower. XXXV SKRYVRE, THE parallel. Here all is sunny, and when the truant gull skims the green level of the lawn, his wing dispetals roses. Here the house is framed of kneaded brick and the plumed mountain pine, such clay as artists fashion and such wood as the tree-climbing urchin breaks. But their eternal granite hewn from the living isle and dowelled with brute iron, rears a tower that from its wet foundation to its crown of glittering glass, stands, in the sweep of winds, immovable, immortal, eminent. XXXVI. My house, I say, but hark to the sunny doves that make my roof the arena of their loves, that gyre about the gable all day long and fill the chimneys with their murmurous song. Our house, they say, And mine, the cat declares and spreads his golden fleece upon the chairs. And mine the dog, and rises stiff with wrath if any alien foot profane the path. So too the buck that trimmed my terraces, our whilom gardener, called the garden his, who now, deposed, surveys my plain abode and his late kingdom, only from the road. XXXVII. My body which my dungeon is, and yet my parks and palaces, which is so great that there I go all the day long to and fro, and when the night begins to fall throw down my bed and sleep, while all the building hums with wakefulness, even as a child of savages when evening takes her on her way, she having roamed a summer's day along the mountainsides and sleeps in an antre of that Alp, which is so broad and high that there, as in the topless fields of air, my fancy soars like to a kite and faints in the blue infinite, which is so strong, my strongest throws and the rough world's besieging blows not break it, and so weak withal, death ebbs and flows in its loose wall as the green sea in fissures nets, and tops its topmost parapets, which is so wholly mine that I can wield its whole artillery, and mine so little that my soul dwells in perpetual control, and I but think and speak and do as my dead fathers move me to. If this born body of my bones the beggared soul so barely owns, what money passed from hand to hand, what creeping custom of the land, what deed of author or assign, can make a house a thing of mine? XXXVII. Say not of me that weakly I declined the labors of my sires, and fled the sea, the towers we founded and the lamps we lit, to play at home with paper like a child. But rather say, in the afternoon of time, a strenuous family dusted from its hands the sand of granite, and beholding far along the sounding coast its pyramids and tall memorials catch the dying sun, smiled well content, and to this childish task around the fire addressed its evening hours. Table of Common Scottish Vowel Sounds. I open A as in rare. O as in law. E open E as in mere, but this with exceptions, as heather equals heather, ween equals wane, lear equals lair. I open E as in mere. O open O as in more. O doubled O as in poor. Ow as in bower. U doubled O as in poor. Ui or umlaut before R say roughly open A as in rare. Ui or umlaut before any other say roughly close I as in grin. Consonant Y open I as in kite. I pretty nearly what you please, much as in English, heaven guide the reader through that labyrinth. But in Scots it dodges usually from the short I, as in grin, to the open E, as in mere. Find the blind, I may remark, are pronounced to rhyme with the preterite of grin. I the maker to posterity. Far yont among the years to be when we think, and we see, and we luve, been dung agi by time's rout shouther, and what was richt and rang for me lies mangled throuther. It's possible, it's hardly mair that some ane, rippin after lear, some auld professor or young heir, if still there's either may find and read me, and be sair perplexed, pure brither. What tongue does your auld bookie speak? He'll speer, and I his moo to stake. No bane fit to write in Greek, I write in Lalin, dear to my heart as the peat reek, auld as Tantallin. Few spak it then, and knew there's nane. My pure auld sangs lie a their lane, their sense, that aince was braw and plain, tint a thegither, like runes upon a standin, stain amang the heather. But think not you the bray to spiel, mon chow the bitter peel, for a your lear, for a your skill, year nane sae lucky, and things are meb war than wheel for you, my bucky. The hail concern, baith hens and eggs, baith books and writers, stars and clegs, new stashers upon losant legs and wears awa. The tack o' mankind near the dregs, rins unco law. Your book, that in some braw new tongue, ye wrote or prentit, preached or sung, will still be just a bairn, and young in fame and years, when the hail planet's guts are dung about your ears. And you, sair gruppin to a spar or whammelled why, some bleasin star, cryin to ken where deal ye are, Hame, France or Flanders, wang sindry like a railway car and fly in danders. Lily trorum. Frey Nurley, Nippon, Eastland breeze, Frey Norland snaw, and har o seas, wheel happet in your garden trees, a bonny bit, atween the muckle pentlands knees, secure ye sit. Beeches and aches entwine their theek, and firs, a stench, auld farrant cleek. A simmer day, your chimleys reek, Couthie and Bayenne, and here and there your windies keek among the green. A pickle plats and paths and posies, a ween auld gillyflowers and roses. A ring o' was the hale encloses frae sheep or men, and there the auld housie beaks and dozes, by her lane. The gardener crooks his weary back a day in the piddity track, or Meb stops a while to crack why Jane the cook, or at some bus, worm-eaten black, to gie a look. Frae the high hills the curlew caws, the sheep gang buying by the wa's, or whiles a clan o' roosty craws cangle together, the wild bees seek the garden raws, wariot why heather. Or in the gloamin, deuce and grey the sweet-throat mavis tunes her lay, the herd comes linkin down the brae, and by degrees the muckle siller moon macs way amang the trees. Here aft hae I, why sober heart, for meditation sat apart, when o'er loves or kittle art perplexed my mind. Here socked a balm for ilka smart o' humankind. Here aft we'll nuke it by my lane, why Horace or perhaps Montaigne, the mornin' hours hae come and gain aboon my hide, I wadna gien a chucky stain for a I'd read. But knew the auld city, street by street, and winter fu o' snaw and sleet, a while shut in my gangrel feet and govan metal, new as the soupit ingle sweet and lilton kettle. And knew the winter winds complain, called lies the glore in ilka lane, on draggled hizzy, taught it ween and drucken lads, in the mirk nisht, the winter rain dribbles and blads. Wan bugles frae the castle rock, and beaten drums wide dowie shock walkin' at cauldrife 6 o'clock, my chitterin' frame, I mind me on the kintry cock, the kintry hame. I mind me on yon bonny bield, and fancy travels far afield together that gardens yield o' sun and simmer, to hearten up a dowie chield, fancies the limmer. Aye. When aince April has fairly come, and birds may big in winter's lum, and pleasures sprayed for in some whatna state, love, why her auld recruitin' drum then tax the gate. The heart plays don't why main and micht, the lasses, e'en are a SAE bricked, their dresses are SAE bra and ticked, the bonny birdies. Pure winter virtue at the sicked gang's heels o'er hurdies. And I as love frae land to land turls the drum why ident hand, a men collect at her command, town bred or landart, and follow in a denty band her gossy standart. And I was sang o' rain and snaw, and weary winter wheel awa, new busk me in a jacket bra, and tack my place I the ram stam, harum scarum raw, why smillin' face. IV a mile an a bittitiosike. A mile and a bittock, a mile or twa, a Boothburn, ayant the law, Davy and Donal and Shirley and the moon was shinin' clearly. Ane went hame why the ither, and then the ither went hame why the ither twa men, and baith wad returned him the service again, and the moon was shinin' clearly. The clocks were chappin' in house and ha, 11, 12 and ane and twa, and the guidman's face was turnt to the wa, and the moon was shinin' clearly. A wind got up frae afa the sea, it blew the stars as clear as could be, it blew in the Enova o' the three, and the moon was shinin' clearly. Knew Davy was first to get sleep in his head, the best o' freens maun twine, he said, I'm weariot, and here I'm awa to my bed. And the moon was shinin' clearly. Twa o' them walkin' and crackin' their lane, the mornin' licked cam grey and plain, and the birds they yammert on stick and stane, and the moon was shinin' clearly. O years ayant, O years awa, my lads, ye'll mind whate'er befa, my lads, ye'll mind on the bield o' the law, when the moon was shinin' clearly. V a LOWDEN Sabbath morn. The clinkum-clank o' Sabbath bells new to the hostin' rookery swells, new faintin' leg in shady dells, sounds far and near, and through the simmer kintry tells its tale o' cheer. And new to that melodious play, daidly on the quiet sway, ken their solemn holiday, bestial and human, the singin' linty on the brae, the restin' ploughman. He mair than o' the lave o' men, his weak complete joys to ken. Half-dressed, he daunders out and in, perplexed why leisure, and his raxed limbs he'll rax again why painfu pleasure. The steerin' mither strang a fit, new shoes the bairnies but a bit, new cries them ben, their Sinde shuit to scart upon them, or sweeties in their pouch to pit, why blessings on them. The lasses, clean fray tap to tease, are busked in crunklin under clees. The gartened hose, the wheel-filled stays, the knacket shift, a bleached on bonny greens for days, and whites the drift. And new to face the Kirkward mile. The Gidmans had o decent style, the blacket shoon, we knew mon file as whites the miller, a weefu pdt to spile the worth o siller. Our Marget, I.S.A.E. keen to crack, dow stappen in the stowery track, her emerald gown a kiltit back fray snowy coats, white ankled, leads the Kirkward pack wide dovet groats. A thocht ahint in runkled breeks, a spiled y lion by for weeks, the Gidman follows Klaus, and claiks the sonsie missus. His serious face at aints bespeaks the day that this is. And while we nearer draw to war the Kirkton lies a law, mere neebers, common, saft and slaw fray here and there, the thicker thrang the gate and caw the stour in air. But hark, the bells fray nearer clang, to roast the slaw their sides they bang, and see, black coats already thrang the green kirkyard, and at the yet the chestnuts spang that brocked the laird. The solemn elders at the plate stand drinkin' deep the pride o' state, the practised hands as gash and great as lords o' session, the later named, a wee thing blate in their expression. The prentit stands that mark the dade, why lengthened lip the serious read, sign wag a moralise in hide, and then end their herplin practice and their creed try hard to square. It's here our Marin Lang has lain, a wee bewast the table stain, and yon's the grave o' Sandy Blaine, and further o'er the Mithers brithers dacent men, lie at the fower. Here the Gidman Saul bide owie to dwall among the dade, to see auld faces clear in fancies, belike to hear auld voices fan saft and slee on fancy's ear. Thus, on the day o' solemn things, the bell that in the steeple swings to fall to scattered famely rings its welcome screed, and just a wee thing nearer brings the quick and dade. But new the bell is ringin' in, to tack their places, folk begin, the minister himsel will shoon be up the gate, filled fu y clavers about sin and man's estate. The tunes are up French, to be sure, the faithfu French and twa-three mair. The auld presentor hostin sair wails out the portions, and yerks the tune into the airwy queer contortions. Follows the prayer, the readin' next, and then the fistlin for the text, the twa-three last to find it, vexed but kind o proud, and then the peppermints are raxed and southernwood. For news the time when pews are seen nid-noddin like a mandarin, when tenty mithers stap a preen in sleepin' weens, and nearly half the parachine forget their pains. There's just a walkriff, twa or three, thrawn commentators swear to gree, weens glorin' at the bumlin be on windy glasses, or lads that tack a keekigly at sonsie lasses. Himsel, meanwhile, fray war he cocks and bobs below the soundin' box, the treasures of his words unlocks y prodigality, and deals some unco dingin knocks to infidelity. Why sappy unction, who he burks the hopes o men that trust in works, expounds the thoughts o ither kirks, and ishaws the best o them no muckle better than mere Turks, when a's confessed o them. Bethinkit, what a bonny creed, what mair would ony Christian need? The braw words rummel o'er his hide, nor steer the sleeper, and in their restin graves the dades sleep I the deeper. Note, it may be guessed by some that I had a certain parish in my eye, and this makes it proper I should add a word of disclamation. In my time there have been 2 ministers in that parish. Of the first I have a special reason to speak well, even had there been any to think ill. The second I have often met in private and long, in the due phrase, sat under in his church, and neither here nor there have I heard an unkind or ugly word upon his lips. The preacher of the text had thus no original in that particular parish, but when I was a boy, he might have been observed in many others. He was then, like the schoolmaster, abroad, and by recent advices, it would seem he has not yet entirely disappeared. VIII SPAWFE. Oh, I wad like to ken, to the beggar-wife says I, why chops are gooid to brander and nane SAE gooid to fry. And siller, that's SAE brought to keep, is brower still to G. It's J and easy spearin', says the beggar-wife to me. Oh, I wad like to ken, To the beggar wife says I, hua, things come to be war we find them when we try, the lasses in their clees and the fishes in the sea. It's jay and easy spearin', says the beggar wife to me. Oh, I wad like to ken. To the beggar wife says I, why lads are a to sell and lasses a to buy. And nobody for dacency but barely twa or three, it's jay and easy spearin', says the beggar wife to me. Oh, I wad like to ken. To the beggar wife says I, gin death as sure to men as killin' is to kai. Why God has filled the earth sae fu, oh tasty things to pre. It's jay and easy spearin', says the beggar wife to me. Oh, I wad like to ken. To the beggar wife says I, the reason oh the cause and the wherefore oh the why money another riddle brings the tear into my It's jay and easy spearin', says the beggar wife to me. VIII the blast, 1875. Its rainin'. Wheat's the garden sod, wheat the lang roads war gangrels plod, a mayest uncivil thing o God in mid-July, if ye'll just curse the sneckdro dod, and sae wull I. He's a braw place in heaven, ye ken, and lees us pure, for just get men clamjamfried in the butt and ben he cause the earth. A wee bit inconvenient den no muckle worth. And whiles at ora times keeks out, sees what pure mankind are about, and if he can, I've little doubt, upsets their plans. He hates a mankind, branch and root, and that's man s. And whiles, when they tack hard again, in life the sun looks braw and plain, down comes a jaw o drowkin rain upon their honors. God sends a spate out o'er the plain, or meb thunners. Lord save us, life's an unco thing. Simmer and winter, Yule and spring, the damned, dour-hearted seasons bring a feck o trouble. I wadn't trite to be a king no, nor for double. But since we're in it willy-nilly, we maun be watchfu, wise and skilly, and no mind ony ither billy, lassie nor God. But drink, that's my best counsel till sae tack the nod. VIII the counterblast, 1886. My bonny man, the world, it's true, was made for neither me nor you. It's just a place to warstle through, as Job confessed ot. And I the best that will can do is mac the best ot. There's Rotho rang, I'm free to say. The simmer brunt, the winter blee, the face of earth a filed clay and dour chuckies, and life a rough and landart play for country buckies. And food's another name for clart, and beasts and brambles bite and scart, and what would we be like my heart, if baird o cleathan? Aweel, I can amend your cart, it's that or neathan. A feck o folk fray first to last have through this queer experience past. Twa three, I can, just damn and blast the hail transaction. But twa three ithers, east and wast, fan satisfaction. War braid the briery muirs expand, a weefu, and a weary land, the bumblebees, a gowden band, are blithely hingin, and there the canty wanderer fan the laverock singin. Trout in the burn grow great as hern, the simple sheep can find their fairn. The wind blaws clean about the cairn collar air, the muircock and the barefoot bairn are happy there. Sick like the house o life to some, green loans war they ne'er fash their thumb, but mark the muckle winds that come soupin' and cool, or hear the pow'rin burnie drum in the Shilfa's pool. The evil why the guid they tack, they caw a grey thing grey, no black, to a stay bray, a stubborn back addressin' daily, and up the rude, unbieldy track o life gang gaily. What you would like's a palace ha, or Sunday parlour dink and bra why, a things ordered in a raw by denty lettuce. Weel then ye canna heat, that's a that to be said is. And since at life ye have teen the grew, and Winnie blithely hersel through, ye have fun the very thing to do that's to drink spirit. And shoon will hear the last o you, and blithe to hear it. The shoon ye coughed, the life ye lead, ithers will air when ain't's year dade. They'll air your tasteless bite o braid, and find it sappy, they'll to your doulafu house succeed, and there be happy. As when a glum and fractious ween has sat and sullened by his lane, till why a roast and scalp, he's teen and shoed to bed, the ither bairns a fa to plain, as glegs a gled. IX the counterblast ironical. It's strange that God should fash to frame the earth and lift sae high, and clean forget to explain the same to a gentleman like me. They gutsy, donnered ither folk, they're weird they weel may dree, but why present a pig in a poke to a gentleman like me? They ither folk their parritch eat and sup their sugared tea, but the mind is no to be wild why, meet why, a gentleman like me. They ither folk, they court their joes at gloamin on the lea, but they're made of a commoner clay, I suppose, than a gentleman like me. They ither folk, for richt or rang, they suffer, bleed, or dee, but a thir things are an impie sang to a gentleman like me. It's a different thing that I demand, though humble as can be, a statement fair in my Maker's hand, to a gentleman like me. A clear account writ fair and broad, and a plain apology, or the devil a civil word to God from a gentleman like me. Their laureate to an Academy class dinner club. Dear Thamson class, warrior I gang it I comes o'er me why a spang, Lord's sake, they Thamson lads, Dale hang or else Lord mend them, and that wanchancy annual sang I ne'er can send them. Strocked at the name, a trusty tyke, my conscience gers ahint the dike, strocked on my hinderlands I fike to find a rhyme ye, pleased, although meb no pleased like, to jye my time ti. Wheel, and says you why heaven braced, SAE far, SAE guid, but what's the neist? Yearly we gather to the feast, a hopeful men yearly we skellock, hang the beast nay sang again. My lads, and what am I to say? Ye surely ken the muse's way, yestreen as glegs a tyke, the day, thrawn like a cuddy, her conduct, that to her's a play, deeth to a body. Aft when I sat and made my main, aft when I laboured birdalane fishin' for rhymes and findin' nane, or nane were fit for ye. Ye judged me called a chucky stain, no carn a bit for ye. But saw ye ne'er some pinging, bairn as weak as a pittity parn. Less oost why guidin' horseshoe airn than steerin' crowdy, packed aff his lane, by moss and cairn, to caw the howdy. Wheeze me for the pure callant then. He wambles like a poke o' bran, and the lows rain, as hard's he can, poos, tremlin' hand it, till blaff, upon his hinderland behold him land it. Sick-like I on the weary fack, when on my muse the gate I tack, and see her gleed raxin back to keek ahint her. To me, the brig o' heaven gangs black as blackest winter. Lord's sake, we're aff, thinks I, but war. On what abhorred and winnie score, or whammelled in what sea o' glore will she desert me? And will she just disgrace, or war will she no hurt me? Kittle the quare, but at least the day I've backed the fascious beast, while she why money a spang and rised, flang heels o'er bonnet, and a triumphant for your feast, hey, there's your sonnet. XXII Embro High Kirk. The Lord himsel in former days wailed out the proper tunes for praise and named the proper kind o' clees for folk to preach in. Precise and in the chief o' ways important teachin'. He ordered a things late and air. He ordered folk to stand at prayer, although I canna just mind where he gave the warnin', and pit pomatum on their hair on Sabbath mornin'. The hail o' life by his commands was ordered to a body's hands, but see, this corpus juris stands by a forgotten, and God's religion in a lands is dade and rotten. While thus the lave o' mankind's lost, O Scotland still God max his boast, pure Scotland, on waste barren coast a score or twa auld wives why muches in a host still keep his law. In Scotland, a ween canty, plain, deuce, kintry leaven folk retain the truth, or did so aince, a lane of a men leaven, and new just twa o' them remain just beg and niven. For new, unfaithfu, to the Lord auld Scotland joins the rebel horde, her human hymn books on the board she new displays, and in Bro High Kirk's been restored in popish ways. O punctum temporis for action to a o, the reform in faction, if yet, by any act or paction, thought, word, or sermon, this dark and damnable transaction micht yet determine. For see, as Dr. Begg explains, who easy tease doon. A pickle weens, wha in the high street gather stands by his instruction, the uncovenanted, pentit pains ding to destruction. Up niven or o'er late, and dash leg in the glore that carnal hash, let spires and pews why grand stramish together fa, the rumlin kissed o' wussels smash in pieces sma. New choosy out a whaley hammer, about the knotted buttress clamor, Alang the steep roof stoit and stammer, a gate mies chancy. On the all spire the bells high chammer, dance your bit dancy. Ding, devel, dunt, destroy, and ruin, why carnal stands the square bestrewen, till your loud chaps fray kyle to fruin, fray hell to heaven, tell the gooid work that baith are doin baith beg and niven. XIII, the Scotsman's return from abroad. In a letter from Mr. Thompson to Mr. Johnstone. In money a foreign paired have been, and money an unco furly seen, since, Mr. Johnstone, you and I last walked upon Cocklery. Why gleg, observant een, I passed by sea and land, through east and west, and still in ilka age and station saw nothing but abomination. In thur uncovenanted lands the gangrel Scot uplifts his hands. At lack of a sectarian fusion, and called religious destitution. He rins, pure man, frae place to place, tries their graceless means o' grace, preacher on preacher, kirk on kirk, this yin a stot and thon a stirk, a bletherin clan, no worth a preen, as bad as Smith of Aberdeen. At last, across the weary feam, frae far, outlandish perts I came. On ilka side o me I fand fresh tokens o my native land. Why what a joy I hailed them the hilltaps standin' raw by raw, the public house, the Hieland Burks, and the bonny UP Kirks. But mayestly thee, the bluid o Scots, frae Maidenkirk to John o Grots, the king o drinks, as I conceive it, Talisker, Isla, or Glenlivet. For after years why, a pockmenty frae Zanzibar to Alicante, in money a fash and sair affliction I jeet as my sincere conviction, of their foreign tricks and pliskies, I mayest abominate their whiskies. Nay doot themselves, they ken it weel, and why a hash o leman peel, and ice and sick and filth, they ettle the stossome kind o goo to settle. Sick worsh apothecaries bruise why, as Scotsmen scorn to file their moos why. And man, I was a blithe hamecomer when first I sinded out my rummer. Ye should hae seen me then, why care the less important parts prepare, sign, we'll content it why it pour in the spirits why a jaw, I didn't drink, I didn't speak, I only snoke it up the reek. I was pleased therein to paddle, I sat and ploudered why my ladle. And blithe was I, the morrow's morn, to donder through the stookit corn, and after my strange mishanters, sit down among my ain dissenters. And man, it was a joy to me the puppet and the pews to see, the pennies dirlin in the plate, the elders lookin' on in state. And mang the first, as it befell, wha should I see, sir, but yourself? I was, and I will no deny it, at the first glyph a hantle trit to see yourself in sic a station, it seemed a doubtful dispensation. The feelin was a mere digression. For shoon I understood the session, and mindin Aiken and Nail, I wondered they had dune sae weel. I saw I had mysel to blame, for had I but remained at hame, Ablins, though no ava deservin, they micht hae named your humble servant. The kirk was filled, the door was steeked, up to the puppet ants I keeked. I was mair pleased than I can tell it was the minister himsel. Proud was I to see his face, after sae lang awa frae grace. Pleased as I was, I'm no denyin' some maters were not edifyin'. For first I fand, and here was news. Mere hymnbooks cockin' in the pews, a humanized abomination, unfit for ony congregation. Sign, while I still was on the tenter, I scunnered at the new presentor. I thocht him gesturin, in called, a sair declension frae the auld. Sign, as though the faith was wreckit, the prayer was not what I'd expected. Himsel, as it appeared to me, was no the man he used to be. But just as I was growin' vexed he wailed a maist judicious text, and, launchin' into his prelections, swooped, why a skirl on a defections. Oh, what a gale was on my spirit to hear the peants o doctrine clear it, and of the horrors o damnation set forth why faithfu ministration. Nay Schochlin testimony here, we were a damned, and that was clear, I owned, why gratitude and wonder, he was a pleasure to sit under. XIII. Late in the nisht in bed I lay, the winds were at their weary play, and turlin was and skirlin we through heaven they battered. Onding o hail, on blaff o spray, the tempest blattered. The masoned house it dinnelled through, it dung the ship, it cowped the coup. The rank it aches it overthrew, had braved a weathers, the strang seagleds it took and blew awa like feathers. The thraws o fear on o were shed, and the hair rose, and slumber fled, and licks were lit and prayers were said through a the kintry, and the called terror clum in bed why a and sindry. To hear in the pitmirk on high the brangled Colishangi fly, the whorl, they thocht, why land and sea, itzel wad cowpit. And for auld airn, the smashed debris by God be ropit. Meanwhile frae far Aldebaran, to folks why telescopes in hand. Oh ships that cowpit, winds that ran, nae sign was seen, but the wee whorl in sunshine span as bricks apreen. It by God's especial grace, dwall denty in a bealdy place, why hosen feet, why shaven face, why dacent manners. A grand example to the race taught it sinners. The wind may blaw, the heathen rage, the deal may start on the rampage. The sick in bed, the thief in cage, what's it to me? Caution my house, a sober sage, I sit and see. And whiles the bluid spangs to my brie, to lie SAE saft, to live SAE free, while better men maun do and die in unco places. War's God, I cry, and we is me to hae sick graces. I mind the feck the sailors keep, but fire or cannel, rest or sleep in darkness in the muckle deep, and mind beside the herd that on the hills sheep has wandered wide. I mind me on the host in weens, the penny joes on cossy stands, the auld folk why the crazy banes, baith auld and pure, that I maun thole the winds and rains in labour sair. And whiles I'm kind pleased to blink, and kind flayed forby to think, for a my wroth meat and drink and waste crumb, I'll meb have to thole why skink in kingdom come. For God wan jows the judgment bell, why his ain hand, his leaven sell, Saul rive the guid as prophets tell frae them that had it, and in the reman pat hell the rich be scatted. O Lord, if this indeed be SAE, let daw that sair and happy day. Again the whorl, gron auld and grey, up why your aches, and let the pure enjoy their play, I'll thole my pakes. XIV, my conscience. Of the ills that flesh can fear, the loss o' freen the lack o' gear, a yowlin' tyke, a glandered mere, a lassie's nonsense, there's just I thing I canna bear, and that's my conscience. Wan day and a excuse has gain, and work is dune, and duty's plain, and to my chalmer o' my lane I creep apart my conscience. Who the yammerin' pain stends to my heart. A day why various ends in view the hairsts o' time I had to poo, and made a hash wadsta a sue let be a man. My conscience. When my hand were foo, war were ye then. And there were the lures o' life, their pleasure skirlin on the fife, their anger, why the hotchin knife ground sharp in hell my conscience. You that's like a wife. War was yorsel. I can it fine, just wait in here, to gar the evil war appear, to clart the guid, confuse the clear, miscaw the great, my conscience, and to raise a steer wan a's o'er late. Sicklike some tyke gron auld and blind, wan thieves brock through the gear to end, has lain his dozen length and grinned at the disaster, and the morn's mornin', wud's the wind, yokes on his master. XVIII Dr. John Brown. When the dear doctor dear to was still amming us here below, I set my pipes his praise to blaw why a my spirit, but new dear doctor, he's awa, and ne'er can hear it. By line and tine, by Thames and Tees, by the various riverdees, in Mars and Manors, yont the seas or here at hame, whaur there's kindly folk to please, they ken your name. They ken your name, they ken your tyke, they ken the honey from your bike, but meb after your fike, the truth to tell it's just your honest rab they like, and no yorsel. As at the Gauf, some canny player should tee a common ba why care, should flourish and deliver fair his supple shinty, and the ba rise into the air, a leaven linty. SAE in the game we writers play, there comes to some a bonny day, when a dear furly shall repay their years o' strife, and like your rab, their things o' clay, sprayed wings o' life. Ye scarce deserved it, I'm afraid, you that had never learned the trade, but just some idle mornin' strayed into the shule, and picked the fiddle up and played like Neil Himsel. Your was gleg, your fingers dink, ye didn't fash yorsel to think, but wove, as fast as puss can link your denty wob. Ye stapped your pen into the ink, and there was rab. Sinsain, war your fortune lay by Dowie Den, by Canty Bray, simmer in winter, nisht and day, rab was ye. And the folk on the way were blithe to see ye. O sir, the gods are kind indeed, and hauled ye for an honoured hide, that for a wee bit Clarket screed SAE we'll reward ye, and lend, pure Rabbi Bane dade his gayest to guard ye. For though warrior yorsel may be, we've just to turn and glisk a wee, and rabbit heel we're sure to see why gladsome caper. The bogle of a bogle, he a gayest o' paper. And as the auld farand hero sees in hell a bogle Hercules, pit there the lesser dade to please, while he himsel dwalls why the muckle gods at ease far raised frae hell. SAE the true Rabbi far has gain on kindlier business, his ain why alder freen and his braced bane and stump taily, he bursels at a new hearth stain by James and Ailey. XVI. Its and o'ercome sooth for age and youth, and it brooks why nae denial, that the dearest friends are the aldest friends, and the young are just on trial. There's a rival bald why, young and ald, and it's him that has bereft me, for the surest friends are the aldest friends, and the mayest o' minds hae left me. There are kind hearts still, for friends to fill and fools to take and break them, but the nearest friends are the aldest friends, and the grave's the place to seek them. Printed by R&R CLARK, Limited, Edinburgh. 27 Life on the Lagoons by H.F. Brown, originally burned in the fire at Messrs. Keegan Paul, Trench and Co. S. 66, From Travels with a Donkey. 67, From Travels with a Donkey.